So good morning. My name is Andrew Daniel. I am the author of this book, Awaken to Your True Self, and I am the director at the Center for Somatic Development. And what we're going to be doing today is a somatic meditation. I have a few ideas, but if there's something going on for you and you have any suggestions or ideas, anything that you want to bring your attention to in your life, you can leave a comment and we can see if anything sparks anything. Otherwise, while you guys are sharing some potential things that you might be interested in going into, I'll share for the first timers what it is that we're going to be doing and what somatic meditation is. Overwhelm. I'm just starting. I'm just kidding. You're overwhelmed already. So what is somatic meditation? I usually like to start off with what makes it different, because that helps. That usually helps set the frame. So traditional, let's say, sitting mindful meditation generally is focusing on stopping the mind, right? There's a lot of great things to it. I'm sure a lot of you meditate. Well, what makes somatic meditation different is two components. One is that instead of focusing on thinking or not thinking of the mind, or trying to not be in the mind, in the head, what we do instead is focus on feeling the body. So for the Western mind, one of the struggles is, okay, well, if I'm not thinking, because that's all I do is think all the time. So if I stop thinking, then what do I do? Well, the idea is nothing, right? You're just there. You're just present. And one of the struggles, I think, that jump for a lot of people tends to be too big for a lot of people. Not everybody. But just look at the rate at which people will consistently do it. So what I've discovered is, if instead of trying to reject and push away and get rid of thoughts, what we do instead is focus on feeling. So we're not analyzing the feeling, we're not thinking about the feeling, we're not doing anything with the feeling, we're just feeling. And that is internal sensations, that is external sensations, and that is emotions. They're all sort of connected. And the second thing that is very different is that we can use movement of the body to go deeper into the meditation, to become more still, more silent, as ironic as that may sound. Or we can use the movement to focus on something, right? Because there are certain meditations that are guided. There's certain meditations where we can go inwards, and in Kabbalah, it's sort of putting the fish hook down into the unconscious and waiting for an answer. You know, we can use it contemplatively. So with somatic meditation, the movement of the body can be used to discover things. And it doesn't require thinking about it. So oftentimes, just being in the head and sort of focusing on something mentally keeps us in the head. But if instead we do it in the body, the feeling and embodied component is very, very, very helpful in helping us getting out of our head, dropping down into our body, and feeling our way through life and getting into relationship with ourselves. So that's a little bit about somatic meditation and how it's different. So let's look at some of the comments. Let's see what you guys are thinking about. Oh, 2 suggestions. Overwhelm, obsessive thoughts. Sure. Well, I think this can be really helpful for both of those, overwhelm and obsessive thoughts. All right, give me a second here. Let me tune in. Let's do a I think we're going to keep it very simple today. I think we're just going to ground into our body. So this will be helpful as a replay that you can come back to just help you get out of your head and get present in the moment, in the body. Yeah, that feels good. All right, so what we're going to do today, this is going to be a very gentle, a very simple, basic somatic meditation of getting quiet, of getting still, of getting centered, of getting grounded, of getting out of our head, into our body, into the now, into the present moment. So there will be guidance by me. I will be giving instructions, but this is going to be a bit more of a quiet one. Again, if you can't make the whole thing, you'll be able to catch the full replay on my YouTube clips channel, right? So how this is going to work is we're going to start with 3 deep breaths to bring us into the meditation. I will guide you through the somatic meditation. We will end with 3 deep breaths. That will conclude the meditation portion. And then I will stick around for any Q&A or discussions afterwards. All right? And we're going to go to about top of the hour. The meditation will be shorter than that. Probably about maybe 20 minutes or so. Don't know. We'll find out. But that's the gist. And you can do this sitting down, standing up, walking, lying. Yeah. Okey-doke. Ready? Give me something. Wake up. Give me a little pulse. Makes sense. Ready? Great. Okay. All right, 3 breaths. In through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. Excellent. If possible, put your feet flat on the floor. It's better without shoes or socks, but shoes and socks will be fine. So just feel your feet in your socks or in your shoes or on the floor. We're just going to be very gentle. So as you go through this practice, you're going to turn your observer on, right? This part of your consciousness that simply observes, that listens, feels, senses, looks, watches, hears, right? This observer. And you want to imagine this almost as just a flawless security camera. It makes no judgments. It does nothing with it. Doesn't analyze anything. All it's doing is observing. So you want to be conscious. You want to be aware of what you're feeling. You want to be aware of the space around you. You want to be aware of the space within you. This is going to help you be more present. And it's important that you are associated to your body. So make sure that all of your experiences is you looking through your eyes, right? So you have this observer, and you're also you. You don't want to dissociate and act like you're an eagle up in the sky looking down at you. You want to experience this through your own eyes. You want to focus on the I, on the self, not the ego. But this is your current experience now. So feel your feet on the floor. And just gently, slowly, just sort of wiggle it and flex and move. You want to go really slow. So one of the secrets, tricks to cinesomatics or somatic meditations and embodiment is going slow. Because so often we speed through things and we rush past the feeling. We're running away from ourselves or what we don't want to feel. So if you struggle with that, one of the tricks is to slow down. There's a slow motion somatic meditation replay on YouTube. You can check that out. And so just go really slow with your toes, with your feet. Now I'm doing this with you. Rotate your ankles a little bit. Make sure you're breathing. Bring your toes, scrunch them down, right? Scrunch them down. And then lift them up. And just notice the sensations. You can just go back and forth. And then as you do that, continue to do that, add in your hips. So you're just going to gently sort of knead the ground, right? Like dough, or kittens getting milk, right? It's like very gentle back and forth motion. And just feel all the ligaments, muscles, your skin, your bones, as you just gently move and breathe. Okay, now keep doing that. And then we're just going to add in our torso. So a really easy way is to just gently move your shoulders. And so when you're feeling your feet and you're sort of kneading and moving your hips, and you add in your shoulders, it gets the whole body engaged. You don't have to focus on every single part of your body. Now, it may not get your hands engaged. We're going really slow, really gentle. If you're able to add in one fourth and final element, your hands, just lift your hands up and we're just, I don't know what this is with your fingers. Just feel your fingers. There's no stress. It's totally peaceful. If you lose track of one of them, it's all okay. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. We're just focusing on these very gentle, slow feelings, movements in our body. Just bring our attention down here. Notice if there's any stress or panic or anxiety. Just be aware of it. Nothing to do with it. Nope. Get those shoulders back on. See? Forgot about my shoulders. Breathe. You just remember, you just come back in and out. There's a great meditation I did on the eternal yin and yang, hide and seek. You can check that one out. Off and on, in and out. So I'm going to be quiet here for a few minutes. And I invite you to just play around in this space. Just explore and get curious. Not through thinking, but through feeling. Explore and feel that curiosity in your body. Your toes, your feet, your legs, your hips, your torso, your shoulders, your fingers, your arms. See if you can explore some more. Listen to your body. There may be a feeling that says, what would it be like to move in this way? Follow it. Notice if you're afraid to follow it. Notice any judgments, any self-censoring. Ooh, is that moving in that way? Does that way feel embarrassing? Does moving in that way feel like you're taking up too much space? Does moving in that way make you feel vulnerable or exposed? Does moving in that way bring you joy? Does it feel playful and fun or silly? Do you feel more open or shut down and closed off? It's more important to be in the movement, in your body, in the feeling, than it is to be aware of those things, right? So if you find yourself thinking about it too much and analyzing and getting in your head about what you're doing, just stop. Go back to the movement, back to the body. That is the number one priority. I'm sharing different levels. There's folks on here that's your first time, and there's folks that have done this a few dozen times. So you just find and fit in to whatever is your level. Remember, listen, feel in the body. Whew, I'm going through something. I'm doing this with you guys. That's funny. Something's coming up for me as I'm doing it. Great. All right, find a new way to move. See if you can move in a way you've never moved before. Follow the energy, follow the feeling. Where does it want to go? Wow, this is amazing. I'm having an experience here, guys. So just keep going. Feel in your body. I'll tell you afterwards. Now see if you do your movements, do whatever you're doing, but do it in reverse. Or do it backward. Or do the opposite of whatever you've been doing. Make sure it's a movement. Remember, you're not doing what I'm doing. You're following your movements. You're following your feeling. That's the thing, folks. When you're actually doing the work, when you're actually doing these things, you're in your body, stuff comes up. That's the whole point. It's usually why I'm not doing it with you, so I'm much better at facilitating, because sometimes I go and I go. This is just one of those days. Something came up. Whew. If this is your first time and it's weirding you out, I understand. It's okay. It's a completely different way of healing, of therapy, of transmutation, of certain kind of alchemy, somatic alchemy, a certain way. A whole different way of relating to yourself and the world and the space and others in life. And when I first saw this and did it, I'm like, this shit is weird. What the heck is going on? But maybe I can help bring you into the field through this. All right. We're going to start settling down here. So just take a few minutes. And really get into your body. Really kind of move it around. Don't think about stretching. This is not athletic. No, so do not stretch athletically. Feel into your body for those nooks and crannies. bring your energy down and down and down and down. Bring it down. Go into the earth. Drive your feet and your toes and your attention into the earth. It may feel like you're pushing into it, or it may feel like you're going into it. It may feel like it's pulling you and sucking you down. Just explore and play. Just drop deeper and deeper and slower. We're going in slow motion now. Give your wrists rotation. Rotate your hands. Rotate your wrists. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Now, lift your feet off the ground and do that with your ankles. Go one way, then the other way. Just rotate your ankles. There's a lot more stuff here. So, in Cinesomatics, what we would be doing is filming this. And then we would, as a group, play that video back of our movements. And then you would get feedback. And then through that feedback, you would start to see all of the stories, the mythologies, the archetypes, the shadow material, all these patterns that run your life through the body, through the subconscious. It just takes this to level 9,000. All right. Let's get still. So through all of that, get still and quiet. So just come in gently. Gently quieting. Gently stilling. What does the silence sound like? What does the stillness feel like? Don't think. Feel. All right. Let's take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth to conclude. Deep from the belly this time. Shake it out a little bit. There we go. That concludes the somatic meditation. I will stick around for Q&As and discussion. It seems a few of you had some wonderful experiences. I'll read the comments. Once again, my name is Andrew Daniel. I'm the author of this book, Awaken to Your True Self, and the director at the Center for Somatic Development, Somatics. You can catch this full replay, my YouTube Clips and Replays channel, if you missed any of it, or to just go back and repeat this. This is a good one that you could do daily, weekly. This is a very solid one to practice. If you got to go, we'll see you next time. If you're going to stick around, leave me a comment. What was your experience? What did you feel? What came up for you? What emotions? What stories? What judgments? What movements? Were there sticky parts? Were there unresponsive parts? Were there parts of your body that you just couldn't bring your awareness into, that were shut off? All right, let's look at some of these comments. Tricia said, "This is beautiful. I feel if it's my first true time of trying to feel so connected." Wow, amazing. Well, be sure to watch this on YouTube as a replay and practice it some more, and you'll get a lot out of it. That's amazing. Deanna said, "First time with you. This was wonderful. Thank you." You're welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for giving it a go. Holly says, "I felt as though I wanted to alternate bilaterally." Yeah, so there could be one of the things in Somatics, again, have no idea because I can't see you. This is just what can show up doing the advanced transformational work. Again, may or may not be what's going on for you. But sometimes when people want to do this, I'm not sure if this is what you're saying, but this is how I'm interpreting it, this alternating. It's, yes, okay, yeah. So this is the masculine and feminine, the yin-yang being in opposition to each other. rather than being on the same page. So when this happens, there's a certain feeling of stuck and back and forth, versus this on the same page, going in the same direction, having the same vision, being connected, moving as one unit. This is almost in opposition. So that's not a blanket statement. It's not always the case. This stuff has to be seen and felt in order to know for sure. But that's just a fun potentiality that it might be. Holly says that feels pretty spot on. Great. Yeah. So then what you want to try. So in these meditations, we're just exploring, right? Now in cinesomatics, in a session, in a workshop, program, things like that, where you're getting feedback, we're actually like going into it and having the therapy and having the healing, and finding, ways to break through that. And so that's something that when we discover, we can start looking at our parents' relationship or our relationships. Masculine and feminine, right? Our mother and our father. How did our mother and our father relate to each other? When clients come in and do my embodiment assessment, that's one of the few things that is open to the public. If you're interested in this, it's very advanced. It's not for beginners. But my embodiment assessment, one of the primary movements we do is a certain handshaking diagnostic. And in there, we see the masculine, or the father energy on the right side, and the feminine, the mother, the yin energy on the left side. And you would not believe how many times I watch somebody shake their hands and I know their parents' relationship dynamics. And I say, oh, it feels as if your mother is doing this and your father's doing that, and this is how they're treating each other, and this is how they live their life. 9 times out of 10, it's exactly their parents' relationship from childhood. From childhood. This is the important part, from childhood. It's mind-blowing. It doesn't make any sense. It's not rational. This isn't something that's in any of the scientific literature, but it is in my everyday experience. Well, why is that? Well, as children, we are an open book. And we look to our mother and father as the primary masculine and feminine archetypes, right? Our mother represents the divine feminine, and our father represents the divine masculine. Even if you're not spiritual, doesn't matter. Just think archetypical masculine yang energy, archetypical yin feminine energy. And so what happens is how we actually learn at children before we know language and how to rationally process things through these word things, we are just observing and absorbing and being entrained into our parents' field, into their patterns, their mythologies, their stories, how they show up in the world, their strategies. And so this is how a lot of cultural and familial mythologies get passed down. There's actually stuff that is happening at the genetic level as well. But all of these ways of being gets passed on, gets entrained into the child. You think purely evolutionary, why this happens. Why is this the case? Well, because there are so many cultures in so many different time periods throughout history, all around the world, climates, rules, belief systems, that a newborn child needs to be indoctrinated into the culture. Nowadays, that means something very different. But how our birthing and evolutionary process is set up is that we get downloaded, we get taught, we get informed by the surrounding culture and family on how to fit into it, on how to behave and how to relate to the culture and the world. And this is the source of our traditional mythologies. Traditional mythologies were the source of how we understand ourselves in the world. Joseph Campbell actually discovered and realized that mythology has 4 different functions. So if you're interested in that, that's really fascinating, because we get to see how these symbolic, metaphorical, allegorical stories and mythologies that you see throughout time and cultures, they serve a purpose, right? They show us how to relate to the society, to the universe. Really, really fascinating stuff. But for our purposes here, when we're children, we are taking on these things. We are being entrained into our parents' dynamic. And so what happens is our yin aspect is an embodiment of the masculine, the father. Hold on, I think I messed that up. Our yang is the embodiment of the father, and our yin is the embodiment of the mother. Now, there are subtleties to this. Yes, both men and women have yin and yang, masculine and feminine energies. If you don't like these terms, just think right brain, left brain. Just think, intuitive and creative, and rational and logical. It doesn't really matter. I have a preference, and that's so how I say it and teach it. North pole, south pole, up, down, left, right, in and out, penetration, receiving. Doesn't matter how you say it. There are these polarity dynamics. And so we learn these through our parents, mostly subconsciously. And so as we grow up, this is the reason, if you've ever wanted to know, why people end up like their parents, why people say, I never want to be like my dad, or I'm never going to be like my mom, and then you end up just like them, or just the opposite of them, or you wonder why you marry your father, or why you marry your mother, right? Symbolically, not your actual parents, but someone that's just like them. Or you wonder why you recreate your childhood dynamics, or you recreate your parents' relationship in your own life. This is the reason. It's clear as day. This isn't my opinion. This isn't just some theory I have. Doing this thousands of times with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, it's self-evident. It's emergent, right? This realization came by watching and seeing people. And it's just remarkable. And so in these somatic meditations, in this cynosomatic work, we have an opportunity to unearth, to discover what these unconscious mythologies, archetypes, patterns are from our parents, from our childhood, in ourselves. And the fastest, most accurate, and honest way of doing this is embodiment, is through the body. Because we can talk a certain way. We can say, I hate that I keep attracting jerks. I just want a nice guy. And yet everything we do keeps attracting jerks. Or whatever it is, right? This is a cliche. Well, there's a reason. And that reason is there's something energetically, there's an embodiment that is running that's different than the mental image. There's something happening in here that's actually creating the results in our life that is incongruent or different than the way that we're thinking or the image we have in our mind. And so cynosomatics is really one of the only highly effective ways to do this. And we use video, feeling, movement, and feedback to discover these things. What we also do is we use the body to heal those, to shift, to transmute them, to find new ways to move in our body, which correlates to new ways in relating to those in our life. So you didn't know there was all of this juice and possibility and potential in this simple, silly somatic meditation that we did. But there is. There is so much. It is an incredible practice. It is an incredible modality that saved my life, that's saving countless other people's lives. And it's on the cutting edge. So really, really, really cool stuff. And these somatic meditations are a great way to get into this. They're a great way. I'm offering them, for free publicly, so people can benefit from being in their body, from learning and understanding the wisdom that's within us. It's all here. And when you feel your body, when you listen to your body, and you move in response to that, life works a lot better. Don't get me wrong. The mind, the head, the intellect, amazing. I use it all the time. And there's so much more for you. There's so much more. All right. What else we got here? Samantha says, weird. I just let my body do its thing and so many emotions came up from someone I love. Exactly. Yep. This is in the body. When you start moving this way, it starts unlocking those things. It's incredible. That's awesome. I overthink and obsess about him, get so much in my head about it. But when I just let myself go, I just let myself feel it and let myself love the fact I can love someone else. Well, you're the one that asked about suggestions to stop obsessive thoughts. Perfect. Yeah. So when you can just let yourself be in that love and not be attached to the other side of it, to the person, it is so wonderful. Right? That feeling of love is for you too. And we just get so in our head about stuff. And it can be so healing to just let yourself love. And one of the tricky things, it can feel like heartbreak. It can feel like heartache when we're in attachment. And then we have this suffering that comes from it, right? All of this obsession, that's suffering. But if you just go in your body and you're just like, oh, this love feels so good. Yeah, I have it for someone else. Well, let yourself have it too. Right? We sometimes we fool ourselves and think that, oh yeah, I can love other people, but it's really hard for me to love myself. Don't think so. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Samantha. Cheryl says, somatics isn't my first time. I find it challenging to be with my body with so many symptoms. I go through chronic illness, but I do love somatics and being with my body because I want to heal it. Well, this is the trick. That is going to be, in my experience, where your healing is. I know it's very, very challenging. I actually made a somatic meditation for people struggling with chronic, suffering. So go check that out. If you go on YouTube, Andrew Daniel Clips, you'll find a past somatic replay for chromatic. That's interesting. Chromatic. Freudian slip or divine inspiration? For chronic issues and suffering and pain. A lot of people benefited from that. Some people literally got out of their wheelchair. I mean, we've had miracles of people. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's just a simple free meditation. No promises, guarantees. I'm not making any claims, but if that's something that you struggle with, a lot of people have benefited from it. So go check that one out. Camellia says, I feel like I'm going to be self-conscious about how I shake hands now. Yeah. Yeah, it took me about 3 years to get over it. The way that I move through the world is very different than most people. And being able to see these things in my work, it's very, very, very interesting. But yeah, that self-consciousness comes up. You just got to move through it. You just got to do it to the point where, she says, what's the video called? If you just go on my Andrew Daniel Clips channel, you'll see it. There's only like 40 or 50 videos. It'll say somatic meditation for chronic suffering or something like that. It'll be obvious which one it is. It's a very popular one. Samantha says, this is so fascinating. So if you just kind of let go and surrender to whatever's coming up, it sounds like we're basically reprogramming ourselves. Yeah, in a certain way. I wouldn't really call it reprogramming. I would call it stop avoiding. Right? That avoidance is going to create massive anxiety and suffering. So if you actually just let go, you surrender and you go into it, say, okay, all right, sadness, all right, pain, all right, grief, all right, heartache, all right, annihilation, okay. And you just honestly go there. It's going to suck. It's going to be challenging. It may be the hardest thing you've ever done. But it's going to heal. Nothing I ask, I haven't done. Nothing I ask is essentially going to be a walk in the park, but it works. It's a lot harder sell to ask people to go into the pain and the suffering in order to heal than it is to offer a magic pill. That's why most people don't. But if you're ready and you're willing to do whatever it takes to heal and to live life fully, check out my book. Shameless plug. So if you like this stuff, we talk a lot. I write a lot about these concepts in my book. All right. My turn to share. Oh, look at the time. We're over time, Darina. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, it was really interesting as my hands were moving. I was seeing also the masculine feminine not being in sync. And there was I felt the feminine and masculine be afraid of surrendering to the other because it felt like it was giving up what they wanted to do. And so I went into that. So I went into it and said, all right, well, let's have each one, let's have the right side and left side, the masculine, feminine, go into the other one, like surrender to what they wanted to do. And so what happened is, at first, I was just processing this subconscious material, and then it started getting bigger, and then it started shifting, and there was a certain, this energy of pulling back. It's really hard to describe this stuff because there's not a lot of words for it, because it's not a rational process. I'm actually gonna hop off here and finish that, but it was really cool because it revealed some sticking points in my relationship. How you do one thing is how you do anything. How you do anything is how you do everything. However you want to call it, is what you're going to call it. But the truth is, we are a fractal. We are a hologram. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so when you understand this, it unlocks the secret to cinesomatics, somatic meditation, because you realize, oh, how I feel and move in my body is how I do that thing in my life. And with that note, we'll sign off. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I believe we'll be doing this next Saturday as well. But typically we do this every Saturday. If you want to be a part of our community, if you go to my website, andrewdaniel.org, there's a link up at the top, I think under Work With Me, where we have a free community. So you can join our community. There's a free training in there. There's a bunch of other people that are doing this kind of work. And we generally have weekly Zoom calls where you can ask questions and have some discussions. All right, so that's free. It's all free. And of course, if you want to go deeper, feel free to check out Cinesomatics. And if you want to check out this replay or all of the other replays, check out my YouTubes. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.